Sarah Blakely is the inventor of a product called Spanx. Who knows what Spanx are? We got all guys in here, but who knows what they are?
They're kind of like,
Kind of like yoga pants, aren't they?
under, kind of just keep everything up, I guess.
Correct. So they're kind of like a modern day corset. That's what you said actually in class one day. Didn't you say that in class? One of you, I stole that. One of our students said that in class one day. It says it's kind of like a modern day corset, which is this thing back in the day that women would wear that would tighten everything up. So y'all are right. And you wear it underneath your clothes to tighten up. So what you don't know is she was a fax salesperson for years, okay? For 7-8 years, she was this fax salesperson, and her territory was the yellow book. So she had a yellow book territory. They say call on businesses, you're selling them faxes, they need faxes back in the day, probably 80s, 90s, right? So that's her job. So she works all day long, she gets in the car, she goes from place to place, basically quick pitch, just trying to get in to see if she can talk to them, so she gets a lot of rejection, a lot of doors slammed in her face. She comes home one night from working all day, and she's got this dinner party. It's summertime, and she had been wearing nice clothes, a skirt and whatnot all day, and she had her pantyhose on. She is getting dressed that night for her dinner party, and she puts on this white pantsuit. And the pantsuit, she forgets to take off her pantyhose. And because she forgets to take off her pantyhose, as she's standing there, she goes, wow, I look really good in these pants. This really makes my behind look good, right? So she really likes the way it looks, but she realizes that it kind of looks silly because these shoes she's wearing are sandals, and so she's got the feet on the pantyhose. So she goes, I'm just gonna cut out the feet. So she cuts the feet out, and she goes to the dinner party, and she's loving life because she feels slender and slim, and she likes the way she feels. So that night, though, what's happening the whole night, and it actually is kind of good that it happened, is the pantyhose keep rolling up because they had nothing that kept them tight there, right? She had just cut them, so you can imagine they just kind of kept rolling up on her. And she goes, wow, all I'd have to do is like basically do this and find a way to tighten it around the legs, and this would be a kind of a cool product. She went around trying to pitch this idea to places, to manufacturers and to clothing manufacturers, to the point where no one would listen to her, because really the thing that happened was in the 80s, 90s, who were probably most of the decision makers at these manufacturing companies? What is their sex? Is it male or female? It's probably male, right? They didn't understand the product. They don't get it, they don't understand it. So no one really will greenlight this for her. So what she ends up having to do is make her own prototype. So she's making her own prototype, but she's even having a hard time getting people to make their own prototype. So as she finally finds somebody to make the prototype, the guy makes the prototype for her, and his daughter sees it as he's making the prototype, asks him about it, and his daughter says, this is a dynamite idea. And so he gets involved, and the next thing you know, they start manufacturing these, and now she's a multi-dollar millionaire, right? She invented Spanx. She says many times she goes to parties, she goes to seminars, and people go, you know, I've thought about that for years. I've been cutting the pantyhose out of the legs out of my pantyhose for years and doing that. You know, I could have been the Spanx girl. Why am I not the Spanx girl? Okay? Well, one, obviously she took action, right? I mean, there's a lot of good ideas out there, but what you don't know about her is this. Years and years before that, I mean, not just all this rejection that she received for the 7 years of selling faxes and getting doors slammed in her face. I mean, she said she almost got to the point when doors got slammed in her face, she was just laughing. I mean, it just came to the point where rejection just became so commonplace, it was just easy for her to laugh it off. But what really helped get her ready for that, and kind of as a breeding ground for her ability to be able to handle failure and to handle rejection, was this. The father, the brother, and her would have dinner together, and the father would say, what did you fail at this week? And he'd look around at the daughter, and he'd look at Sarah, and he'd look at the brother, and he'd ask them what they failed at. And she said if we didn't have something, he would actually be disappointed in us, because he wanted to teach them. And think about what a great lesson to teach your kids. I mean, I just would go around there. I was happy that I would just have dinner a couple times a week with all of our family sitting together and just go around and say, how was your day? And let everybody have 5 minutes to talk. But what a great lesson to teach your kids, right? That it's okay to fail. Because I think a lot of times what happens as parents is we go ahead and we compliment and we praise these achievements, and so we make them think that achievement is all that matters. So I love that I heard that story, and I love that I heard it when my kids were at least a little bit younger, so I was able to tell them, hey, you know what, just for trying, you know, just the fact that you guys tried and did that, whether you fail or not, you succeeded. Right? Ziglar, I'll sum it up by this. Zig Ziglar's got this quote, which I'll paraphrase, and we're going to talk about paraphrases today. But I'll paraphrase, and the quote goes like this. And anybody know who Zig Ziglar is? He's who is he?
Sales guru.
Sales guru. He's not around anymore. Sold pots and pans. And you remember where he's from? He's from Mississippi. So he's got that southern drawl, big time. I mean, big Mississippi. So he says this, hey, if you're gonna try to get across town, and you're gonna wait for all the lights to turn green before you try to go across town, you're never gonna leave the house.